Honestly, I was actually pointing out that I like the Beretta M9. Well, I call it the M9. Was it M92? Whatever the hell you want to call it. I like that the best in some ways. But, and I'll tell you a couple things, though, but about these two weapons, why I like both of them. I personally like the Colt 1911. And this is just a plain Colt 1911, nothing fancy. You can go get them all accurized. This thing is super accurate. I'm good with it. Actually, this is how I always have it. I have the leather strap wrapped around here with this stupid safety thing. I hate it. Like, in other words, you can pin these down, but I just use this. When I pick this weapon up, it feels like it's right, perfect. I don't know why, because I'm just, like, when I first was really getting into a lot of pistol shooting, and I've gotten out of it for a while, but this one felt better. But then after shooting a number of rounds, this one felt better. As far as the extended magazines, I don't like to fill them up all the way. The only reason I use extended magazines is that if you keep ammunition in them, it does not wear down the spring as easily. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. Well, before I even get into this type of ammunition, one of the reasons I joined the military too, the Marine Corps, actually, it was not the reason, but it was a partial reason. And this is going to be an unpopular statement. I believe in defending Israel, and I just put up a video about Fatima, and and I know a lot of people can criticize. What the Pope does, and at the top of the Catholic Church there's all this garbage that goes on, and why Pope Benedict resigned, and what does that have to do with Judaism? Well, there's a lot of problems in every religion, but as far as the actual true core element of Judaism, it's good. It's good. I can say the same thing about the Catholic Church, too, as far as the actual true core element of it. And actually, I can even say the same thing about Persia, or like Persia, like today we got the problem with Iran is so religiously politicized and all this garbage, and there's like all these tensions going on. But, I look at a weapon as to also defend the righteous and the true. Because the righteous and the true need to survive. And that's the whole premise behind everything. So, just, to get that to the basic 101 point, because some people don't like guns for this reason, that reason. The righteous and true have to survive. In other words, you have to defend, the minority, and even sometimes defend the unworthy till, the situation is at hand is actually remedied and figured out. In other words, don't cave into the situation like Pontius Pilate would have, for instance. Which I don't blame him, and I don't blame anybody on that, whatever happened. I guess I don't even know what happened then, but let me put it to you this way. If you need a weapon to defend yourself, as a righteous person, you want to have the best ammunition. And it's not, the weapon is the equipment. You got to have the right equipment. But the actual weapon itself is you, the shooter. And besides having the right equipment, you got to have the right ammunition. Now, I use these super expanding, like not for target because they're freaking expensive for shooting, but this 147 grain in a 9mm would be extremely effective. It's not, some people are getting into so much about the technicalities and all the buzzwords, because there was a time, well, this still is the shit, if you want to call it that. I know Glock has gotten to be a big word. I'm not against Glock, but it's a very, very good gun, but somehow I just don't like the way it looks with the plastic, and I don't really like, tell you the truth, I'd rather have something made in the USA or Italy than Austria, so that's just how I am. But, the Beretta has been a very fine weapon. Both of these have been very, very accurate, very, very reliable, and they're extremely effective. The problem, I'll tell you, these magazines actually feed very well. This is a 20 rounder. I forget what the hell many rounds. This is 10 or 11. This one I'll not fill up all the way because it's not smart to, but you can get a few more rounds out of the 1911 with an extended magazine. I tried even other ones that were cheaper brands of extended magazines. You got to kind of watch the deal. This weapon is extremely accurate. It fires it feeds very well. I don't know. This damn thing, man. I got no problem with this. This thing, I probably should use this more as my home defense weapon, to tell you the truth. But either one is. But the one thing I don't like about it is that, say for instance, it's a home defense situation. I could keep this one on the double action first trigger pull, which is a heavier trigger pull, because, for instance, you don't want to be startled or something and have this locked and cocked and just have it go off too easily, too fast. If you're in a combat situation or something like that, where the enemy's in the area or something, I mean, you wouldn't care about the damn weapon going off or something like that. But if it's a home defense situation, I personally like this one, and this is actually with 147 grain super expanding ammunition. It is definitely way outperforms ball ammunition in this 1911. But it doesn't really matter too much what the hell you get, to tell you the truth. That much. I mean, there's Swiss and Wesson, there's Ruger's. Ruger's a great gun. I don't know why a lot of people don't rave about Ruger too much. And being that I remember like all the buzzwords from way back, like the Colt was it, Colt was it. But another thing that was always, and it's still a super fine weapon, was the Browning high power. The Browning high power used to be like the buzzword. It was like it was like I was getting sick of hearing Browning high power, the high power. It's almost like Glock has been getting Glock, and it's like everybody's. It's not like it's screwed up, but it's I don't know what it's like. It's like acting like it's God and everything else is garbage, and that's not true. It almost seems that way sometimes. It's like so many people have gotten onto it, but yeah, and I have fired the Glocks, but I always got with the military. Now, if the military adapted the Glock, I would definitely own one. There's no doubt about it. Unless the military adopts a weapon that is ridiculously screwed up, I would not. And then I would not adopt a military weapon. But that's easy. I adopt whatever weapons the military, any weapon the military adopts usually is good, almost in every case. And if it isn't good, they get the bugs worked out of it. And if it isn't good, it's not going to be around that long. Now, I know a lot of people say this is ancient because it's 1911. That's when it came out in 1911. Well, the Browning M2 came out basically, well, if you're really going to go back to not the current version exactly, it came out in 1917, and it's still in use. So, for crying out loud, it doesn't necessarily mean that if something's an old design, it's screwed up. No way in hell. Actually, most action competitive shooters use this, or maybe not the Colt, but it's a different brand. It is a 1911. Most competitive action shooters use that one. And considering this Beretta has been in the military for like a gazillion years, now it has been now. It's been, I think it was adopted in the 80s. I was in back then, and the 90s and shit. It's been around long enough that it's proven it's a fine weapon. And the other thing is the slide on the top. You can grab the entire slide and pull it back. It's easy to pull back the slide. It's easy to pull back the slide on this. I don't know. They're all freaking really good. They're all really good. But some people say, oh, 9mm isn't enough. It is enough exactly if you have the right ammunition in it. That makes a difference, and all the difference. And again, I want to actually bring it back to that one caveat that when you are, using a weapon, it is basically, you're preserving the life of the just. There's always the crowd that's out there to condemn, the one person and all this kind of garbage. It's not about, evil. That's not what a weapon is about. It's about preserving the just. And like I said, even when I joined the military, partly I thought about, not only defending the USA, but defending Israel. And I know the criticisms of Israel, and I could tell you, just like I said on the last video, that there's criticisms in the Catholic Church that are very true on the top, but that's not the core element. It's not the core element. Not at all. Not at all. So, anyway, kind of like made this a little bit of a different type of statement than you probably would have expected. But the thing is that weapons are vastly necessary, because without the weapons, the just will never be able to preserve and carry on.